What's up, guys? My name is Elias, and James Gunn's Superman is officially in theaters to usher in a new era of the DC Universe. Now, while numerous actors have donned the Man of Steel's iconic red and blue tights in the 70 plus years since Kirk Alyn first portrayed the character in a 1948 movie serial titled Superman, every on screen iteration of the last son of Krypton has provided something unique to the mythos. However, though every actor has done the character justice in their own way, it's time to see who should come out on top. Now, while I haven't seen Dean Cain or Kirk Alyn's performances, I will be including the other 7 live action Supermen, so be wary because this is going to be a crazy list. I might have some hot takes, and we're going to go from worst to best. Let's get it. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Superman. That was more fun than it should have been. George Reeves is one of the more iconic actors to don the red and blue, following Kirk Alyn's take on television from 1948 to 1950. Reeves, whom my mom loved when she was growing up, brings this earnest, no nonsense, stoic charm to both his Clark Kent and Superman. Which is to say, there's no real distinction between the two, so any Henry Cavill haters out there, your boy George did it first. His serious version of Superman is pretty on point, but his debonair and suave take on the mild mannered reporter side was more akin to Bruce Wayne than he was to Clark Kent, at least the one that I grew up with. Overall, it's not the worst iteration of Superman as it's clearly a product of its time, and at the very least, it's necessary to watch his take in the role in order to appreciate Superman's humble beginnings and legacy. Reeves, however, met an untimely death in 1959 at the age of 45 due to a gunshot that may or may not have been via unaliving himself. The semi-biopic Hollywoodland explores this instance specifically, suggesting the incident was indeed a murder. Somebody save me. That theme song is just so dang catchy. Tom Welling first appeared as the youthful Clark Kent in 2001's Smallville on the silver screen. Acting as a prequel, the series sought to provide audiences with Superman's humble origins before he ever donned the cape. Though the show was largely criticized for its corny plot lines and pre-Superman shoehorning of heroes and villains alike, it remains to this day the longest-running superhero series in existence. With 10 seasons to boot, Tom Welling was able to complete his arc from unassuming Kryptonian out of water to full-blown savior of the planet. As Clark Kent, Welling is humble, compassionate, stoic, and downright determined, though he can be a bit reckless at times. All his Clark yearns to do is protect people, especially his loved ones who often become entangled in his dangerous adventures. His complicated relationships with Lex Luthor and Lana Lang imbue the staple CW drama the network is known for, but it never seems to bog his character down. Outfitting himself with multiple versions of Superman-like attire, the closest we ever really got to see Welling in the actual suit was during the very last episode as a red and blue blur. The closing shot of the series saw Welling perform the iconic run into the camera while revealing the S symbol underneath his shirt, but unfortunately, this is the only real reason why the actor falls near the bottom of my list, as he wasn't exactly Superman until the very end. Nevertheless, his powerless appearance in the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover was one for the books, as he had joined fatherhood while married to Erica Durance's Lois Lane. Plus, it was a joyous moment to see him clock John Cryer's Lex Luthor in the jaw. Fans have been pining for a Smallville revival, though an 11th season was explored in a limited comic series, but for now they'll have to make do with reruns of the iconic show on Hulu. You wrote that the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear people crying out for one. Following in the footsteps of the legendary Christopher Reeve would have been an intimidating task for any actor, but newcomer Brandon Routh did it with style. Appearing in 2006's Superman Returns, Routh carried an otherwise forgettable film with his mesmerizing performance as the titular Superman. From the outset, emulating the lighthearted Reeves legacy in a darker and edgier era may have seemed impossible, and while Routh's dialogue and general actions during the drab movie's slower scenes majorly come across as moody, that doesn't stop his Superman from being a force to reckon with. He catches planes in the air, takes turret fire to the chest, and carries an entire continent of kryptonite into space. Additionally, in one of the greatest sequences in superhero movie history, he flies around Metropolis during a crisis, and saves the citizens in danger, encapsulating what it really means to wear the S on the chest. While definitely not my favorite Superman, Ralph truly shines whenever he's fumbling around as Clark Kent. Instead of coming off as a bumbling buffoon like the days of old, the actor brings almost a childish innocence to his portrayal of the Daily Planet reporter while blending in to seem like a regular Joe. When CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover dropped and Ralph made his redemptive return as the Kingdom Come version of Superman, I was ecstatic. When he finally appeared on screen in his Clark Kent attire, he displayed even more charm than he had in his own movie. Finally, he battled it out with Tyler Hoechlin's Superman throughout the skies of Metropolis in a truly spectacular action sequence for the ages. Though I'll throw on Superman Returns every now and then, the main thing that keeps me coming back is Brandon Routh's portrayal of the Man of Tomorrow. However, due to being a modernized, updated version of Christopher Reeve's character, he simply couldn't be placed any higher on the list. Had he been able to do his own thing akin to what Christian Bale did with Batman the year prior, perhaps Routh could have been a strong contender for the top three. I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. Christopher Reeve is globally revered as the best Superman to grace the big screen, and I can understand why. There's one scene in the first Superman specifically where he transforms from Clark Kent to Superman to Clark Kent again through the subtle body language and facial expressions that proves the man was born to play the Man of Steel. Inspired by the golden era of comic books, Richard Donner's Superman the movie was the first theatrically released Superman film that convinced audiences a man can fly. As the first big budget superhero flick, Donner meticulously combed through dozens of A and B list actors to fill the title role, finally landing on Christopher Reeve after a breathtaking screen test. Initially only 188 pounds, Reeve was suggested to wear a bodysuit before deciding he'd rather pack on the weight naturally, gaining a whopping 30 plus pounds before filming. That's dedication. Reeves set the bar high when it came to his regular guy side of the role. Arguably the nerdiest version of Clark Kent, he clumsily stumbles through the streets of Metropolis and corridors of the Daily Planet to maintain his secret identity. At no point do I find myself questioning how no one knows about his alter ego, as notoriously laughable as of a mask as glasses are, because the actor plays the innocence of it all with style. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? I don't know, but it can't be Clark Kent. Quirky antics and left field powers aside, Christopher Reeve absolutely killed it in the first and second Superman movies. We're going to pretend like 3 and 4 just never happened for argument's sake. So even his short cameo in an episode of Smallville as Dr. Virgil Swan proved that his legacy deserved to be honored in any way possible. Sadly, the legend passed away in 2004 after spending nearly a decade confined to a wheelchair due to a horrible horseback riding accident. It makes me wonder how different the current state of superhero movies would have looked had Reeve never taken such an iconic role. Would we have ever gotten anything like Superman 2, Michael Keaton's Batman, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? Obviously, we'll never know, but it's a question better left unanswered. I haven't always been there for you, but I promise you, from now on, I will be. Before Supergirl made the move from the CBS network to the CW for its second season, it was announced that the series would be introducing its own version of the Man of Steel. Famously receiving the role immediately after auditioning, Teen Wolf alum Tyler Hoechlin was chosen for the pressure-inducing task ahead of him. With his various appearances throughout the Arrowverse, Hoechlin quickly proved to the world at large that he belonged in the upper echelon of Supermen. He has the Christopher Reeve-esque smile, the toughness of Henry Cavill, and an emotional range that surpasses CW's own standards. Hoechlin firmly establishes his Clark Kent as a man capable of balancing fatherhood with being a superhero, grounding the show in a way I never thought possible with a godly character like Superman. When he's not coaching his son's football games or catching up with old friends, he's out there battling some of the deadliest threats on the planet. Hoechlin naturally embodies the role as he travels around the world in a moment's notice, saving as many lives as he can. His portrayal of the last Kryptonian truly exemplifies what it means to be a hero of the globe rather than the hero of just one city. Though the responsibility comes with a toll and he displays sprinkles of genuine anger throughout, he never seems to lose his lighthearted demeanor, remaining a true do-gooder at the end of the day. With the series ending on the highest note possible, we were able to see Hoechlin really grow into the role of nearly every single stage of his superhero career up until his untimely death in the show. Behind the scenes photos suggest that even off screen, the 37-year-old actor truly acts like Superman, cheesing brightly while waving to fans. His costume also continued to get an upgrade with every season, with every single suit he sported not missing a single beat. The guy has charisma, gravitas, and a likable charm necessary for the character, and it's tough to imagine anyone else in his place as far as Superman and Lois goes. And if we're being honest here, he's definitely the best TV version of Superman we've ever gotten. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human, and that's my greatest strength. As soon as I watched the show The Politician when it was released on Netflix, I literally said, I love Cavill and I hope he continues, but if they decide to reboot and recast the character, this kid would be ideal, or something along those lines. And some years later, look who pegged it. Corn Sweat brings a bright and hopeful Superman to the screen, reminiscent of the Golden Age comics, the likes of which we hadn't seen since Christopher Reeve. For an alien from another planet, he is so unashamedly human in the way he loves and cherishes life. All life, for that matter. No, he is not as invincible as his comic counterpart, but I kind of love that, seeing as it could create obstacles and challenges and stakes for the character that we just haven't seen him contend with before. Every threat in comic book movies seemed like their world ending, but it was so nice to see a Superman genuinely try to just protect the city he's sworn his allegiance to. I really do wish we had gotten more of his Clark Kent, with only one or two scenes really showing what his mild mannered reporter side is like, but I'm also glad that we really got to see Superman throughout the whole movie, saving a crap load of people, squirrels, dogs, and mutant babies. Even his sorrow for a giant kaiju that he would have rather kept safe and studied instead of outright killing makes you go, man, this guy is almost too good of a dude, right? It makes us all look bad. Nevertheless, I can't wait to see him hopefully play the role for at least 10 more years, as James Gunn and DC Studios has only scratched the surface with David Corenswet's inspiring portrayal, the Man of Steel. No one stays good in this world. Can you really blame me for putting Henry Cavill at number one? Y'all know how much I love Man of Steel. Not only does Henry Cavill play the best Superman on screen, but he legit looks like he was ripped right out of a comic book. Casted by Zack Snyder as Clark Kent Superman in 2013's aptly titled Man of Steel, Cavill brought to the world a modern take on the Superman mythos. A masterpiece in its own right, the film boasts the privilege of having started the DCEU as we know it, even though it crashed and burned later on. In his first outing, Cavill's somber Superman took 33 years to finally embrace his destiny as a hero to the world. Due to Zack Snyder's unique vision, the question was raised, what would really happen if a godlike alien grew up with human parents who pushed him to become his own man? Would the world embrace him with open arms, or would they fear him? That particular question is what makes Cavill Superman so unique, as he displays the authenticity of someone berated by the fallout of their first heroic venture. In Batman v Superman, Cavill pulls you into the character's psyche as he acts as the world's savior while simultaneously being mistrusted by its own people. While the tease of his reporter persona in Man of Steel was perfectly displayed pre-end credits, his Clark Kent in Dawn of Justice was immaculate. He actually investigates and reports on the Batman's misdeeds, all while romancing the love of his life, Lois Lane. Not to mention, he portrays a Midwestern charm that everyone could love. In 2021, however, Zack Snyder's Justice League was finally released, and H-Caz was resurrected and given the opportunity to become Superman in full force, smiling as he beat Steppenwolf's butt in glorious fashion with one of the best suits he's ever worn. Though his future in the role was upended when Black Adam flopped at the box office, I have hope that James Gunn will utilize his version of the Man of Steel in an Elseworld story somewhere down the road. And what is Superman if not a symbol for hope, right? Or they could just cast him as Batman already. Just saying. But there you have it, guys. My official ranking of the 7 live action Supermen that I have seen. Obviously, there's a couple that I missed. Let me know who your favorite is and why you think my favorite is not your favorite and all that good stuff. Like and share this video too so someone else can join in on the conversation. And until next time, take care and God bless.